So I was able to catch up on, I'm trying to get to class. So I'm in my plain clothes while I'm driving to class. So I was able to get them stopped. Tatum called the parents.
I'd like to call a meeting to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, let's move on to the roll call.
Mayor Steve King.
Present.
Councilmembers Richard Orphan.
Here.
Rich Scordo.
Here.
Chris McClish.
Here.
Tim Brown.
Here.
Next, I'll entertain a motion to adopt tonight's agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make that motion.
Okay, Mr. McClish makes the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Brown. Is there any discussion before I call for the question? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next, I'll entertain a motion to adopt tonight's consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to adopt the consent agenda.
Mr. Orphan makes the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. McClish made the second. Is there any discussion before I call for the question? Hearing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor of tonight's consent agenda signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next, meeting open to the public. Barb, did anybody sign up?
Steve Feldman.
Steve Feldman, 22766 Poppy Street Northwest. I just want to take some time here. The sign on Poppy Street has been taken down after about 4+ weeks now. So it's a good, I'm glad the city bought the sign. I think the data is going to help. But what I'm just giving you an observation of myself and the neighbors in that area. Without random police enforcement of that sign, what you get is after a while, people ignore it. That, you know, it just, as long as it's there, they see it. In fact, even some of us, it's almost like a game. They come up to it fast and they speed up after fast. Or they'll go at the 30-mile-an-hour speed limit, and then afterwards they speed up afterwards. So the longer it stays, the worse it got. So I'm just saying, I keep talking to the police about it, and I get no response from that. You don't have to tag people, just the police presence. Warning people, just a card there makes a big difference. Wherever you move this sign in the city, that's what the whole idea was, making it portable and movable. Wherever you put it, if you don't have random police enforcement of it, it doesn't do any good. It's just a sign with data. That's all it is. Because people, you know, they're always going to take the shortcut away around anywhere. That's one of the reasons we have a problem on Poppy Street. But not only that, it's the fact that as long as it's there without any enforcement, it's just a sign, like I said. And all they do is just look at it and just keep on speeding like they have for the last 4 weeks. So I just want to press upon the city and the police, like I mentioned before, the police chief. If you want to tag anybody with under 10 miles an hour, then don't. But at least warn them, or your presence alone with a cop car sitting there makes a big difference. And I'm just saying to you, wherever again that you move this sign, if you don't do some enforcement randomly or whatever, I'd like to see more of it, but at least random, at least twice a month or something to back up that sign, it's just going to be another sign with another digital readout, that's all. And hopefully the data coming from it is going to make you understand that there's a lot of traffic on that street, that they are speeding on that street. I still think a stop sign on Silverado is going to be a big thing, and I'm working with Joe Coleman on that. hopefully we'll get that done. We can't do a speed bump, but I think the stop sign there will make a big difference. It'll slow them down. As I mentioned before, I know in Cambridge, they've done that almost on every street. A stop sign, it makes that street inconvenient or unusable, or they don't want to take the inconvenience of stopping makes them not want to use that street. That's one thing I think a stop sign would be good for. But again, random police enforcement mixed with the sign and the data that you get from the sign, that's the key to the success of that sign. Thank you.
Okay, moving on to ordinances and resolutions. Ordinance number 213, second series, amending ordinance 208 of the city of St. Francis, Minnesota, annexing land located in Athens Township, Iceni County, Minnesota, pursuant to Minnesota statutes 414.033, subdivision 2, parentheses 3, permitting annexation by ordinance. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
A motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Mr. Mayor, I'll second.
Second by Mr. Squirtle. Is there any discussion before I call for the question? Hearing none, this will be a roll call vote. Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Squirtle?
Aye.
Mr. Orpin?
Aye.
Mr. McClish?
Aye.
And Mayor votes aye. Motion passes. Moving on, we have amongst our midst, I think, a superstar finance director. She has gotten another award. This is from the Government Finance Officers Association Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting. This is what, 5 or 6 now you've gotten?
This is the, I think, 4th year in financial statement.
Right, but this is, I think, the 5th or 6th award.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Including the budget.
So I think that is an absolutely phenomenal accomplishment. Darcy,
Thank you.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd just like to recognize our auditors, Abdu and Myers, for all that they do too. Without them, it wasn't possible. Thank you.
Thanks, Darcy.
Okay, moving on. Our chief would like to talk to us. I think he's in the Christmas spirit.
Always in the Christmas spirit. As you've seen in the agenda report, what I'm requesting is permission to order the budgeted 2016 squad car. By putting in for by ordering it now, it won't come until, like always, April or May, on the street by June. But it puts you at the top of the list, so when they do come in, you're one of the first ones to get them type of deal. There's no expenditure that will occur in this. You still don't pay for it till you get it, like we normally do. That's really kind of what I'm looking for. The cost of it, as you see in the agenda report, is $25,500 approximately. That isn't accounting for the trade-in. As I mentioned in my agenda report, that the 2012 Dodge Charger is a vehicle we will be trading in. It currently is under 90,000, and we will be making sure that it doesn't break 100. As we have discovered, that is quite a break point for the trade-in allowance. So, I believe last year the squad we traded in at 99,000. I believe we got slightly over 5,000 on trade-in, which we're not used to seeing that kind of money for our vehicles.
Mr. Lepak, are we looking for a motion on this?
That'd be correct.
Okay.
It's on the state bid, so.
I'll make that motion.
Mr. Brown makes a motion to approve.
Approve.
Okay, we have a second.
Second.
We have a second by Mr. McClish. Is there any discussion or any questions for the chief? Sensing none, I'll call for the question. All those in favor of authorizing the chief to order his 2016 squad car now, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you, Mayor Council.
Moving on to our city administrator. Do you have anything for us today?
I do. Honorable Mayor, members of the council, as you know, the chief's anticipated last day will be April 30th of this spring. So I'm wondering if you guys are available next week to do a work session to discuss his replacement or the process for filling the next police chief position.
Gentlemen?
Go ahead, Chris.
Is this something that we need to take care of right away, or can we wait until after the holidays?
Yep, I mean, we could, whatever, I guess, my only preference is that everybody is there. And so whenever that is, I guess, whatever works for
It's
everybody.
going to come up, the decision's going to come up right quick.
Mhm.
So we can do whatever we need to do. That's why I was thinking, I didn't know what everybody's thoughts was between the holidays because I figured everybody would be here. So I didn't know if that would work or not.
I'm available anytime Tuesday or Wednesday next week, so I'll throw in my 2 cents.
Chris, you want to wait till after?
I'm gonna check.
I work at 2 on every day, but otherwise before that I'm available.
Yeah, Monday or Tuesday. Works for me.
Okay, but I don't think, not everybody be available during the day, is that correct? You working too?
Yep.
Okay. Then we'll have to take a look at after the holidays. And see, will you guys look at your calendars and send Joe an email in the next couple of days and let him know when you would be available? And maybe we can take a half an hour or something before our meeting if you'd like to do that too. So just let him know and then we'll get something scheduled. Okay, is there anything else, Joe?
Nope, that's it.
Okay, moving on, the reports from council members. Mr. Orpik,
Nothing.
Mr. Scornall,
Nothing.
Mr. McClish.
I'd just like to thank the fire department and also the volunteers that helped out with Santa on the fire truck and collecting the food on December 10th. It was a good, had a lot of positive comments on that, so thank you. That's all I have.
Mr. Brown?
No, just, everyone have a safe and happy holidays.
Okay. Report from the mayor. I was fortunate enough to ride with our chief, fire chief, during that night when they collected the food. And we went on the east side. It was a fun experience. It was great seeing the Cub Scouts, the firefighters, and the St. Francis ambassadors. And I want to thank everybody for helping on that. Just as a side note, the chief told me that over 4,000 pounds of food was collected. Is that correct?
1,400.
1,400, I'm sorry. My ears don't work as good these days. So, yeah, it was a really interesting thing. And staff, as you know, I got an email this week regarding a gentleman from Isani whose parents live down here and are going to need assisted living. My question to staff is there someone to contact to get put on a list? And if there is, should we put it on the website? If there is somebody to contact, I would like that too, to contact for my mother.
Okay. We will get some contact information.
Yeah, I don't know if it's too early yet or not, but let's try and find out. Because if it is, maybe we want to put it up on the website. Okay. And other than that, I would like to wish all the city staff and all the residents to have a very Merry Christmas and a very Happy New Year, and of course, same to the council. Well, you residents, you're covered, your staff, so you're covered 2 ways. All right, is there any old business tonight? Hearing none, I'll move on to, is there any new business tonight?
All right, I want to throw my hat in for my very first new business. All right. I would like to have a report, and it's not urgent, but, lately there's a lot of cities are faced with crises of one way, shape, or form. And it's happened more and more frequently, whether it's, an act of violence or it could be natural disaster or whatever. And I wouldn't mind knowing that we've got a plan in place that tells people who they should call. And if something is going on in our city that might affect the school district, I want to know we've got a plan in place that somebody knows how to get a hold of Mr. Ferguson. So Mr. Ferguson can make whatever decisions he's got to make about the safety of his students. I would like to know that we've got, if I get something in my inbox, that whether it's a threat, whatever, something in my inbox that something needs attention, who should I call? Is it Joe? Is it you? Is it Barb? What should I do? So I think, the day may come, it may never come, but I just want to know we're prepared. And even something that puts a natural disaster, if a tornado comes to town, if we have a fire in an apartment building, does somebody at City Hall have a list of a few phone numbers that if somebody stops in, we know right away, well, here's the phone number for Red Cross. If somebody comes in and they're kind of distressed, it's not a runaround thing. I guess I'd like to know that we're kind of prepared for things like that. We did have a bomb threat here a couple weeks ago, and from my perspective, things were done just fine. The chief notified me via email, just to let me know something was going on. I think the sergeant said it's over. That's all I expect in a situation like that. I don't expect all of us to have to get together and, quote, be leaders, but I want to make sure we've got plans in place so the mayor can make whatever decisions he's got to make. And I kind of, the city of Los Angeles and the city of New York, we're both faced with, bomb threats here in the last week or so, and they both took different action. In one city, there was one person that owns everything. The mayor is in charge of the school district, in charge of everything else. LA, that's not quite the same. So that day, the mayor was out probably 6 or 7 times reiterating it was the school district's decision. It wasn't mine. And they kind of came off as not having their act together. So I kind of want to make sure that, we have a plan to have our act together in situations like that, should the day ever come. And it's not something, I don't want to necessarily see this report in January, whenever you get time, sometime next spring. I think I'd like to kind of hear that, we have some plans in place to deal with that should the day ever come. So that's all I had.
Okay, you've got direction on that? Okay, any other new business? Yes.
On the same thoughts I believe we have a disaster plan in place throughout the city, if I remember right, correctly. I think our city administrator is a coordinator of it.
Yeah, it was the case that recently I moved to the police chief just right when I started. But we can coordinate and get all that information out and make sure it's available for everybody.
Okay, anything else? All right, then we'll stand adjourned. Thank you.